It begins like thousands of live streams do every day. A phone camera flickers on, lighting a small apartment in soft, uneven shadows. A young woman adjusts her angle, glances at the scrolling comments, and begins speaking in a calm, familiar tone. Her name is Adize Okonkwo, 26 years old, known to a modest but loyal audience. She isn't a major influencer, just someone people enjoy listening to, relatable, consistent, real. She talks about her day, laughs at comments, and settles into the rhythm her viewers have come to expect. Everything feels normal. About 7 minutes in, something shifts. It's subtle enough to go unnoticed at the time. Her eyes move briefly away from the camera, not toward the door or window, but somewhere behind it. Then comes a faint sound. She pauses mid-sentence, listens for a second, then continues. Viewers assume it's nothing, background noise, a neighbor, something minor. But the interruptions continue. A glance, a hesitation, a slight change in her tone. At 8:37 p.m., she stops speaking completely, looks past the camera, and listens. Then, without warning, the live stream ends. No goodbye, no explanation, just silence. At the time, it seemed like a connection issue. But when she stops responding to messages and cannot be reached, the stream becomes the last confirmed record of her alive. If thousands were watching, how did no one realize something was wrong? Adize lived alone and worked remotely in customer support. Her live streams were simple conversations, often held between 8 o'clock and 9 p.m. in the same setting. That routine is what made the events of March 14 stand out later. She started her stream slightly late at 8:12 p.m. The lighting was dimmer than usual, and she seemed distracted, though not alarmed. At 8:19 p.m., a faint thud is heard. She brushes it off as a neighbor. Over the next 10 minutes, more sounds follow, each subtle, each prompting a brief reaction. At 8:31 p.m., she checks her phone off camera, and her expression tightens slightly before she resumes speaking. Viewers notice nothing unusual beyond mild distraction. When she is reported missing the next day, investigators turn to the archived live stream. What seemed uneventful is analyzed in detail. Audio enhancement reveals that the first sound did not come from above, but from within the same level of the building. A second noise at 8:24 p.m. suggests metal striking wood. A third at 8:28 p.m. resembles something being dragged. These sounds form a pattern, indicating activity nearby. Her reactions align precisely with each one. The most critical moment comes at 8:37 p.m., when a faint voice is detected beneath the silence. It is not hers, though indistinct. It confirms someone else was present, even though no one appears on camera. Digital forensics adds another layer. At 8:30 p.m., Adize received a private message. "I'm outside." She did not respond, but her device records show she moved toward the entrance and then back. She never mentioned expecting anyone, yet her behavior changed immediately. The sender was identified as Ease, an acquaintance she had communicated with casually over 2 months. On that day, he had made multiple attempts to contact her before sending the message. Viewer comments during the stream also capture real-time concern, with some asking if she heard something or if someone was there. At 8:38 p.m., the stream ends manually from her device. By aligning timestamps, investigators reconstruct the final minutes. She reads the message at 8:30 p.m., moves toward the door at 8:31 p.m., and returns. A closer sound follows at 8:33 p.m. At 8:35 p.m., faint knocking is detected. At 8:37 p.m., the voice. 1 minute later, the stream ends. Everything that follows happens outside the camera's view, but not without evidence. Chinedu is brought in for questioning. Initially, he denies being there, but phone location data places him at her building during the exact time frame. Nearby cameras capture someone matching his description in the area. Audio analysis further links his voice patterns to the one faintly recorded in the stream. Under pressure, he admits to visiting her apartment, claiming he wanted to talk after being ignored. He says she let him in, but an argument escalated unexpectedly. What happened next occurred off camera. The live stream, once dismissed as ordinary, becomes the central piece of evidence. Every pause, every sound, Every reaction contributes to understanding the timeline. What viewers saw was only part of the story. The crucial moments were never visible, but they were captured in fragments. Audio traces, digital records, behavioral shifts. Adize's case is ultimately resolved through this layered reconstruction. Her family describes her as cautious and private, making the situation difficult to comprehend, yet the evidence remains clear. The footage is still referenced as a reminder of how easily critical details can be overlooked. Thousands watched in real time, unaware of what was unfolding just beyond the frame. In the end, the most important evidence was not what was seen, but what was almost missed because the world was watching, but the truth was happening just out of frame.